Life hits hard sometimes, doesn't it? One moment you're cruising, the next you're drowning in a sea of noise, thoughts racing faster than you can keep up, words spilling out before you can stop them, and focus slipping like sand through your fingers. It's not just you. In a world obsessed with quick takes, loud opinions, and endless distractions, too many men are losing their grip. They're burned out, scattered, disconnected from the strength they know they've got somewhere deep inside. But what if the problem isn't the chaos around you? What if it's how you're handling it? The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who faced wars, betrayals, and personal struggles, figured out a truth that cuts through the noise. It's not what happens to you that defines you, it's how you choose to respond. On WisdomWavesAura, we're diving into Stoic wisdom to help you reclaim your focus, toughen your mind, and live with unshakable intention. This isn't about shouting louder or doing more. It's about doing better, staying quiet when it counts, and steering your thoughts with purpose. If you're ready to stop letting the world own you and start owning your life, stick with me. Hit like, subscribe to WisdomWavesAura, and ring that bell to join the quiet revolution of men mastering their minds. Let's get started. Ever had a single thought wreck your entire day? A quiet whisper in your head that grows into a storm, I'm not good enough. Things will never change. What if everything goes wrong? Before you know it, you're living as if those words are carved in stone. But they're not. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it best, it's not the events that mess us up, but the judgments we make about them. Your mind is like a busy train station, with thoughts rolling through like trains, some carrying regret, others anger, some fear. The trick? You don't have to hop on every train that passes. You can stand on the platform, breathe, and let them go. I once knew a guy, a team leader everyone looked up to for his calm demeanor. He admitted to me one night that every morning he woke up with a knot in his stomach, his mind screaming, "You're not doing enough. You're screwing up." For years, he carried those thoughts like a life sentence. Then he stumbled across Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic heavyweight, and something clicked. He started saying to himself, "I'm having the thought that I'm screwing up." That small shift in words changed everything. It wasn't him failing anymore, it was just a passing idea, like a cloud drifting by. If you don't feed the fire, the smoke clears. This isn't about pretending your thoughts don't exist or forcing yourself to think happy thoughts. That's just dodging reality. It's about recognizing that your mind churns out thoughts on autopilot, some useful, some not. Many are just echoes of old experiences, inherited fears, or knee-jerk reactions. But you are not those thoughts. You're the space where they show up, the one who decides which ones to nurture and which to let fade. On WisdomWavesAura, we're all about practical steps, so here's how you start. Take a few minutes each day to pause and notice your thoughts. When one stings, don't react. Don't push it away. Just watch it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Do I have proof? Does this make me stronger or weaker? If it's not serving you, let it go, not with anger, but with calm, like dropping a rock you've been carrying for no reason. Bit by bit, you carve out inner space. In that space, something unshakable emerges, clarity, quiet, steady strength. It's not magic, it's discipline. It's coming back to the present moment, to the platform, to you. The Stoics didn't aim to stop thinking, they aimed to tame it. An unguided mind is like a runaway horse, dragging you where you don't want to go. But a trained mind, it's your ally, lighting the path and letting you walk it freely. Next time a voice in your head says you can't, you're not enough, or it's too late, don't board that train. Stay with yourself. Your thoughts don't define you, what you do with them does. That's the kind of strength we're building on WisdomWavesAura, and it starts with this simple truth: your thoughts aren't facts. Now, let's talk about something most guys overlook, the power of saying less. In a world where fast talking is mistaken for smarts and loudness drowns out truth, choosing silence is an act of defiance, not against others, but against your own ego. The ego loves the last word. It wants to clap back, to be heard, to prove something. But you're not here to prove anything, you're here to master yourself. I worked with a guy who was different. In meetings, he didn't talk unless he had to. He listened, he watched, and when he spoke, every word landed like it was carved in stone. Not because he shouted, but because he didn't waste a syllable. He didn't argue or over-explain. He only spoke when it mattered. That made him unforgettable. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, wrote that the soul grows stronger when it stays calm amid the world's noise. That's the challenge, holding your ground when everything screams for a response. Saying less isn't about biting your tongue out of fear, it's about choosing when to speak and when to hold back. It's knowing not every jab deserves a counterpunch, not every taunt needs a comeback, not every moment calls for an explanation. When you respond to everything, you hand your energy to the world. You scatter yourself. But when you choose silence with purpose, you sharpen your mind. You become a man who acts, not reacts. On WisdomWavesAura, we're learning from the Stoics, who saw this as a virtue. A wise man doesn't talk out of habit, he talks by choice. He doesn't jump into verbal sparring because some battles are won by staying out of them. Think back to the last time you spoke on impulse, maybe a jab, a defense, an opinion you didn't need to share. Was it worth it? Or did it leave you hollow, patching the gap with regret? Silence, on the other hand, never regrets. It buys you time, gives you perspective, hands you back control. Saying less makes you more present. It forces you to listen, not to fire back or win, but to understand. Something wild happens when you do this, the other person lowers their guard. They feel you're not fighting, you're paying attention. And you change, too. By not talking, you think clearer. Your words stop being reactions and start being choices. Epictetus taught that true freedom comes from not needing to justify yourself. That freedom isn't loud, it's in your breath, your gaze, the calm you carry when you choose silence, even when you could dominate with a killer argument. Here's a challenge from WisdomWavesAura: next time you feel the urge to fire back, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it useful? Is it true to who I want to be? If the answer's no, keep your words. Sometimes the greatest strength is saying nothing. In that silent space, you grow stronger, clearer, more you. In a world full of noise, a man who masters silence becomes a presence that doesn't need an introduction. Let's shift gears to something every man faces, the chaos of life. The world feels like it's gunning for you sometimes, plans collapse, people let you down, opportunities vanish. The past stings, the future looms heavy. In those moments, one question cuts through: what now? Most guys look for someone to blame or give up entirely. But there's a kind of man who chooses differently. He turns inward, knowing the only power that can't be taken is the power to choose how he responds. Epictetus called it the split between what's in your control and what isn't, a principle as simple as it is brutal. You can't stop people from disappointing you, but you can choose not to let it eat you alive. You can't rewrite the past, but you can keep it from defining you. When you stop wrestling with what you can't change and grab the wheel of what you can, you take back your power. Picture a ship on a stormy sea. The captain doesn't control the wind or waves, but he controls the rudder, the sails, the choice to keep sailing. A Stoic man lives like that captain. He doesn't pretend the storm isn't there or kid himself with wishful thinking. He asks, where do I have leverage? And from there, he moves. I once met a guy who lost his business after 20 years. The hardest part wasn't the money, it was the feeling of powerlessness, watching his sense of self crumble with every unpaid bill. For months, he was stuck in anger, pointing fingers, drowning in what he couldn't fix. Then he stopped. He grabbed a notebook and made 2 columns, what he couldn't control and what he could, his routine, his mindset, his discipline, his willingness to start over. From that day, he didn't just rebuild a business, he built inner peace. Clarity gave him strength, focus made him untouchable. On WisdomWavesAura, we're about real, actionable wisdom. So try this: when life feels like it's falling apart, stop. Breathe. Write down what you can control: your effort, your attitude, your next step. Then pour your energy there, no matter how small it seems. Marcus Aurelius, who ran an empire, knew he couldn't control fate. His power was in how he responded, by not whining, not quitting, staying steady while the world spun out of control. Controlling what you can doesn't mean making everything perfect. It means taking the helm, choosing what stays solid inside you: your calm, your purpose, your deliberate action. That's what keeps a man from breaking, no matter the storm. It's not luck or circumstances, it's the relentless choice to focus on what matters. Now, let's talk about growth. Ever play a conversation in your head for days? A mistake from months ago keeping you up at night. Someone hurt you, and even though they're gone, the wound's still raw, not because of what happened, but because you keep feeding it. Your mind's like fertile soil, it grows whatever you plant. Sow pain, guilt, or resentment, and you won't harvest peace. The problem isn't remembering, it's staying stuck, looping like a broken record. Sometimes, without realizing it, you turn your mind into a prison. But you're holding the key. What you think isn't a life sentence, it's a choice. This isn't about ignoring the past or pretending everything's fine. It's about redirecting your attention to what builds you up. A man who keeps looking back doesn't move forward, no matter how fast he's running. But when you choose to focus where there's light, something opens inside you, not loudly, not instantly, but it opens. That's where growth starts. Marcus Aurelius, in the middle of wars and betrayals, wrote that the soul grows stronger by focusing on what's essential, on what life demands of you today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. The present, flawed as it is the only place you can act. Your attention is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. On WisdomWavesAura, we share stories that hit home. A guy once commented on one of our videos, saying every time he started moving forward, his mind dragged him back to the same memory, the same person who hurt him, costing him hours like it was still happening. We've all been there. The key isn't to run from the thought, it's to face it, acknowledge it, then decide it doesn't get any more of your space today. Even if it's just for an hour, send your energy towards something that pushes you forward: reading, training, building. Every time you choose what adds value, you're telling the world and yourself, I'm not wasting another day on what I can't change. You can't control every thought, but you can decide which ones stick around. That decision, made day after day, becomes your character, your direction, your strength, a strength that shows in how you move, how you choose, how you keep pushing forward quietly while others stay stuck in their storms. Let's talk about acceptance, because most men don't crumble under life's load, they crumble from fighting it. They want life to be different, people to stop letting them down, the past to stop hurting. But the more you wrestle with reality, the more you wear yourself out. Marcus Aurelius said the pain isn't from the thing itself, it's from your perception of it. And you can change that perception. Acceptance isn't giving up or sitting back. It's stopping the fight against what's already done. It's looking at the loss, the mistake, the betrayal, and deciding they won't define you. As long as you keep wishing things were different, you're chained to a fantasy. But when you accept, you breathe. You can pick a new path. A guy emailed WisdomWavesAura about chasing his dad's approval for years, trying to be the perfect son, the hotshot professional, the tough guy. Nothing was ever enough. When his dad passed, the loss was brutal, but worse was the unresolved weight, the years spent trying to be seen. Then he read Epictetus and realized freedom starts when you stop begging for permission to be you. He started talking to himself with respect, not because anyone gave it to him, but because he decided he didn't need it anymore. The Stoics taught that you can't control how the world sees you, but you can control how you see yourself. If someone shuts you out, it doesn't mean you're worthless, it means they couldn't see your worth. But you can. You have to. Acceptance also means dropping the guilt, the inner voice droning on about what you should have done or could have avoided. The past can't be rewritten, it can only be understood and used to build. When you accept something's over, you start again, not from nothing, but from experience. Resilience isn't just enduring, it's learning, growing with every fall, not in a rush, but with direction. Every hit that doesn't break you reveals you, shows what you can hold, what you can leave behind. And yeah, loneliness comes with it. When you stop living for approval, some people drift away. You don't fit their mold anymore. But being alone as your true self beats being surrounded but cut off from who you are. Next time life doesn't go your way, don't ask, why me? Ask, what can I do now with what I've got? Start with what's here, with who you are today. That's where transformation begins, not out there, not tomorrow, but now, in what you choose to think, how you respond, who you choose to be. There's a noise you can't hear, but it wears you down, not from the street or your phone, but from inside, from a mind chasing everything, trying to fix, solve, respond. We're surrounded by stimulation, opinions, comparisons, demands. From the moment you wake up, there's a push, do more, know more, be more. In that barrage, you don't just lose time, you lose direction. Without silence, everything blurs, and when everything feels the same, nothing matters. But silence isn't emptiness, it's a shelter, the only place you can hear what you really think, feel, want. Maybe you've been chasing goals that aren't yours, running after winds that don't fill you because you never stopped to ask if they were yours. Silence forces you to. A WisdomWavesAura viewer told me he used to pack his schedule tight, couldn't stand 10 minutes of nothing. Downtime made him feel worthless. But during a panic attack, he forced himself to sit, no music, no phone, just 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, he cried, not from sadness, but from truth. He realized how much he'd been running, using noise to drown out what he needed to face. Now, every morning starts with silence, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. That's where he found answers no book or advice could give. Marcus Aurelius wrote alone at night, not to show off, but to hear himself, to sort his mind before making choices that shaped an empire. A noisy mind isn't a free mind, it's trapped in clutter. Silence lets you see what's worth your time, what's just a distraction. It shows your habits, your fears, your deepest wants. But it takes guts, because silence confronts you with hard truths, with what you've been dodging. That's where change happens, not in comfort, but in the uneasy space where you stop running. If you're lost, don't chase more noise, chase silence. Turn off the clutter. Shut your mouth for a second, not because you've got nothing to say, but because you need to hear yourself first. The world won't hush for you, there'll always be more news, more demands, more voices. But you can create a pause, a sacred space where you're you again, not what's expected or copied, but what you are. Only a man who can be quiet can truly listen, and only someone who listens to what matters can live with purpose. Silence isn't weakness, it's a mark of inner control, of mental clarity, of real power. Join us on WisdomWavesAura to keep exploring this path. Most guys don't get in trouble for what they don't say, they get in trouble for what they say without thinking. A word spit out in anger, an opinion tossed without care, a response fired off on impulse. That's where the damage starts, not always out there, but inside. Every time you speak without awareness, you drift further from yourself. In a world scrambling to be heard, the man who knows when to stay quiet stands out. Think of your mind as a blade, every word is a swing. If you don't train that blade, it'll cut you deeper than anyone else. But if you learn when to swing, when to sheath it, when to sharpen it in silence, you become hard to rattle. A guy reached out to WisdomWavesAura after a family blow-up. He lost it over something small, but the anger had been building for weeks, from words he didn't say when he should have, emotions he ignored, judgments he threw like daggers. When it was over, he felt empty, knowing those words weren't his truth, just echoes of an inner mess he didn't catch in time. So he started a rule: pause before answering, even if it's 2 seconds. Those seconds changed how he lives, giving him room to choose, to respond calmly. Epictetus said we're not thrown off by events, but by how we interpret them. That interpretation kicks in before you open your mouth. The man who masters the gap between trigger and response doesn't just win arguments, he shapes his character, his path, his energy. In a heated moment, silence can be your sharpest defense, not because you're out of ammo, but because you know not every fight's worth your fire. In a big conversation, a pause can give your words more weight than any volume. Speaking with intention is an art, and like any art, it takes practice, awareness, guts to not get sucked into the noise. Today, we're bombarded with prompts to react, to post, to weigh in. But showing restraint isn't bottling up, it's choosing where your words come from, ego or wisdom, hurt or clarity, the need to be heard or the freedom of not needing anyone's approval. That's what separates a reactive man from a grounded one. You won't always control what you feel, but you can control how you express it. Train yourself to pause, to breathe before you talk, to wait for the right moment. The man who masters his words respects himself more, and a man who respects himself gets respect. Real strength isn't about lifting heavier weights or yelling louder, it's forged in silence, in the moments you choose to think before you react, in the days you zero in on what you can control. On WisdomWavesAura, we're building 3 pillars: think less, talk less, focus more. It's not some far-off ideal, it's a daily practice, built with every choice, every conscious breath, every thought you observe without letting it become your truth. When you realize your thoughts don't define you, that your silence is strength, and that your focus shapes your path, something shifts, not out there, but in you. You stop needing to prove your worth to the world because you carry it. Peace, discipline, and clarity aren't for the lucky few, they're skills you build, sharpen, and defend. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Use what you've got. Breathe. Pause. Choose. If you ever waver, come back to WisdomWavesAura. Let every word here be a nudge. Your mind doesn't run you unless you let it. Your voice doesn't lose value by staying quiet. Your focus is your most powerful tool. Drop a comment: where do you need more silence? What are you choosing to let go of? Your story might spark another guy to find himself again. Subscribe to WisdomWavesAura, hit that bell, and let's keep walking this path together, building quiet, unshakable strength, one choice at a time.